reminded us, I quote, Africa cannot trade or integrate without infrastructure, end of quote. For Raila, this connection was more than development, it was liberation. And therefore I also agree with you, my brother PLO, when you say the time for economic liberation is now. It was important. Our forefathers, a lot of whom are actually being depicted right in front of us, struggled and fought for African political liberation. And that was achieved. And I think the story of Kwame Nkrumah and the argument at the OAU summit at that time, whether they should have gone for integration, which was, I think others like Mwalimu Nyerere and others, that a few had a different way of looking at it. But imagine Kwame Nkrumah's dream been agreed with. This will be a continent like no other. So now, for my brother Raila, even in death, his spirit continues to inspire. His voice reminds us that Africa's power lies in cooperation, not in division, in dignity, not in dependency. May his soul rest in eternal peace, and may his dream for a united Africa live on. Of course, he joins many, many others. I can tell you, for example, at the occasion to even reach out to brother leader who was misunderstood, Muammar Gaddafi. I see my friend PLO. I think you need to look a little bit at that contribution. Muammar's vision was for an African foreign policy, which is common, and African defense policy, which is also common. But I can see that there are difficulties in achieving some of these things. Ladies and gentlemen, there is truly a wind of change sweeping across our continent. This wind is the latest expression of Pan-Africanism, I dare say. The wave of Gen Z-led protests across Africa against bad governance, against corruption, impunity, lack of transparency, electoral fraud, and rising living costs is a powerful testament to a new generation rising. These peaceful demonstrations are not acts of recklessness. They are acts of hope and determination aimed at restoring the dignity of their generation and ours, just as their forefathers restored Africa's dignity through the struggle against colonialism and oppression. This is Pan-Africanism in action, an awakening that must be recognized and supported. African leaders must stop treating protesters as criminals. In the case of Kenya, in the case of my own country, a senior counsel went out there, PLO, next to committing maximum prison, to enter and defend young Kenyans who are charged under Prevention of Terrorism Act, that your own children were even seen as terrorists. So, leaders must listen to their people and not silence them. This surge of youth-led Pan-Africanism is not accidental. 19 coups in just 4 years, coupled with the persistence of one-term presidencies, are warnings we cannot ignore. Well, did I talk to you? Did I say one term? Did I hear you say one term? One term. Mr. President, that is the clarion call in our country. This has become our second national anthem. Guests, dear friends, as we break ground for the Pan-African Institute today, let this moment be a reminder that Africa's future is in our hands and we are still painting our canvas. Let this institute be a beacon, a place where ideas ignite, talents are nurtured, and Pan-African ideals are brought to life through education, through innovation, and through action. Together, let us continue the work of building a continent where opportunity, where dignity, and prosperity are within reach for all. Let us honor the legacy of those who came before us and empower the generation that is rising now. The journey is long, but the vision is clear. An Africa united, strong, and free. Viva Africa! Viva Africa! Comrades power! Comrades power! Comrades transaction. You know what that means. God bless you. God bless the Republic of Kenya. God bless the Republic of Botswana. Long live Africa. The time for Africa to rise is now. Amen.
Kalonzo Muskoka. As a child historian, I'm tempted to say Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Muskoka is a man whose time has come. Let us clap for him. I picked those words from Martin Luther Jr. Martin Luther Jr. and the story of the time. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are beginning a very important occasion now. We are going to have play of African music as we thank you so much. Let's see what happens. Thank you.
The younger generation may not know the song that played before, Afrique le Bougeron by Franklin Bukaka. This morning, as we travel from Nairobi, Your Excellency, you remember we agonized about the continent, agonized about what is happening in Sudan, Cameroon, the Democratic Republic of Congo, what happened in Tanzania, what happens in Tigray, what is happening in Central African Republic, what is happening as at this morning in Bamako, in Mali. But we said we will not allow our spirits to be dampened. We remembered how during your term, you stood firm against forces that desired to torpedo the good things that have been achieved. This morning, you broke the ground for the Pan-African Institute. You traveled far and wide in order to be present with us this morning. It is in recognition of that the Lukenya University and the Pan-African Institute have seen it fit to recognize your efforts over the years, because those who serve well ought to be celebrated. We here are celebrating you, Your Excellency. The process now begins to do it the necessary pomp and circumstance.
Madam Chancellor, Section 10 of Lukenya University Charter, read together with Statute 33 and Statute 34, gives the university powers to confer honoris causa degrees. Madam Chancellor, Statute 34 further provides that the university may convene a convocation for the purpose of conferment and award of degrees and other awards of the university. By the powers conferred upon me by the Universities Act, the Lukenya University Charter and statutes, I declare that this first convocation of Lukenya University legally constituted. The convocation, as you can see, we have all the instruments of power are present. The purpose of this convocation is to confer Lukenya University honoris causa upon a distinguished candidate. I now call upon the Honorable Senator Dr. Sylvia Kasanga Mulwa, Board of Trustees Chairperson, to come forward and read the citation for the candidates.
Madam Chancellor, in line with Section 9 of the Lukenya University Charter and Statute 33, the Senate and the Council recommended during its 30th meeting held on July 11, 2025, approve the conferment of honoris causa to His Excellency Lieutenant General Dr. Seretse Kama Ian Kama. Further, the university published the citation of the candidate, His Excellency, in 2 leading newspapers in compliance to Commission for University Education Standards and Guidelines 2014 Standard Program Number 2. Madam Chancellor, the candidate has met all legal, regulatory and statutory requirements for the conferment of honoris causa of Lukenya University. Madam Chancellor, I shall now read the citation. Madam Chancellor, members of the Board of Trustees, the Council and the Senate, Pan-African members, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Today, in the heart of Africa, under the gaze of Yatta Plateau, by the sandy beaches and and waters of River Athi, Buffalo Bend. Lukenya University and Pan-African Institute Fraternity gathers to honor a son of the continent whose life embodies courage, service, and unyielding devotion to humanity. We gather to pay tribute to a leader whose footsteps echo from the plains of the Kalahari to the corridors of global diplomacy. A man who has worn many uniforms, attires of soldier, statesman, humanitarian, and conservationist, and who has carried each with grace, discipline, and humility. It is with profound pride that we present this convocation to His Excellency Lieutenant General Dr. Seretse Khama Ian Seretse, the fourth President of the Republic of Botswana, a gallant soldier, a visionary leader, and a noble son of Africa. Early life and formation. His Excellency was born on the 27th of February 1953 in Surrey, England, at a time when his parents, Sir Seretse Khama, Botswana's founding president, and Lady Ruth Khama, were exiled from their homeland for daring to defy the racial prejudice of their age. Their love story became a global symbol of moral courage and the triumph of human dignity. It is from this lineage of defiance against injustice and steadfast faith in inequality that Ian Khama's moral compass was forged. His Excellency Khama began his education in Serowe, continued in Bulawayo, Babane, Geneva, Chichester, absorbing the world's diversity, while remaining deeply rooted in the culture of Bangwato people, of whom he is Kosi Ekolo, the chief paramount. At Waterford Ambala United College in Eswatini, an institution built on the ideals of racial integration and international understanding, His Excellency Khama imbibed principles of unity and service that would define his future path. He later pursued studies in social studies at the University of Bristol, trained at the law and by 1989 he was appointed commander in India, a position he held until 1998. Under his leadership, the BDF evolved into one of Africa's most professional and humanitarian-oriented armed forces. He emphasized civic military cooperation, national disaster relief, and community development, giving the meaning to the role of the army in peace building. His integrity and service earned him several military honors, among them Founder Officer Medal, the Duty Code Order, and the Distinguished Service Medal, each recognizing a lifetime of courage, discipline, and honor, political leadership, and presidency. In 1998, after 25 years of military service, Lieutenant General Khama retired from the army to enter public life. He was elected Member of Parliament for Serowe North and appointed Vice President under President Festus Mogae with responsibility for governance, reforms, and service ethics, public service ethics. Under President Mogae's retirement, he was sworn in on 1st April 2008 as the fourth President of the Republic of Botswana, and later re-elected to a full term in 2009. His presidency was anchored on the 4 Ds: democracy, development, discipline, and dignity, later expanded into a 5th: delivery. These principles guided Botswana through a decade of steady growth, fiscal prudence, and democratic stability. When the global financial crisis struck in 2008, his leadership was tested, and he passed with a test with distinction. He established a national economic recovery task force, protected jobs through private sector partnerships, and launched the economic diversification drive and the economic stimulus program, strengthening non-mining sectors and ensuring no Botswana was left behind. His government introduced the Ipelege program to provide income support for vulnerable citizens and pioneered the Youth Development Fund, housing initiatives for young adults, and community sports and arts programs that revitalized the civic life. Under his watch, Botswana became a beacon of integrity, repeatedly ranked amongst Africa's least corrupt, best governed nations. Champion of democracy and good governance. Beyond economic stewardship, His Excellency Yakama has been a moral voice for Africa. He spoke firmly for democracy, human rights, and accountability, even when it was inconvenient to do so. In 2011, he received the Judiciary Award for Statesman of the Year for his unflinching advocacy of human rights and the rule of law, a recognition that placed him amongst Africa's most principled leaders. Even after leaving office, he continues to champion good governance, joining the Africa Forum, a council for former heads of state committed to peace, dialogue, and democratic renewal of the continent. Environmental stewardship and global conservation. To speak of Ian Khama is to speak of conservation, a cause that has defined his life as much as leadership itself. He founded the Khama Rhino Sanctuary and the Mokolodi Nature Reserve, pioneering community-based conservation long before it became a global norm. He served as chairman of the Elephant Protection Initiative Leadership Council, president emeritus of the Giant Club, and board member of Conservation International. In 2014, he courageously introduced a national ban on elephant hunting, a policy that has inspired global admiration and reaffirmed Botswana's role as a sanctuary for wildlife. For his unmatched service to nature, he was awarded lifetime honorary membership of the International Union of the Conservation of Nature, IUCN, the Conservation Award by the Africa Safari Club of Washington, the Endangered Wildlife Trust Statesman Award, and the Global Citizen Award by the University of Wisconsin in Madison 2017. He is also founding patron of Tule Conservation Trust 2019, patron of the Guardian Angel Wildlife and Marine Trust, and president of the advisory board of Green 14. In 2023, he received the Honorary Conservation Leadership Award, affirming his global influence in environmental preservation, humanitarianism, and philanthropy. His Excellency Khama's heart beats with compassion for the vulnerable. Through the Lady Khama Charitable Trusts, the Sponsor a Child Trust, and the SAI Khama Foundation, he has empowered women, educated children, and supported the destitute. He is known to personally visit hospitals, serve meals at soup kitchens, and offer direct assistance to those in need, embodying the spirit of Botho, humanity in action. The spirit of Botho is a philosophy centered on humaneness, compassion, and interconnectedness, summarized by the Setswana phrase, Motho ke Motho Kabado Babangwe, which means a person is a person through other people. His philosophy has earned continental acclaim, including the African Philanthropist Award in 2023 at the African Heritage Awards, recognizing his dedication to community upliftment and social transformation. Beyond politics and philanthropy, His Excellency Khama has been a steadfast champion of culture, creativity, and African identity. He has supported Leadership Award from Afrima in 2015. In 2013, he was honored as a global visionary at the Condé Nast Visionaries Dinner in New York, and in 2023 received the Legacy Award from the South African Traditional Music Awards, SATMA, for promoting African heritage. He convened the Summit for Sustainability in Africa in 2012, rallying leaders across the nexus of environment, economy, and ethics, and continues to inspire the next generation through mentorship, advocacy, and example. Throughout his journey as a soldier, commander, reformer, conservationist, and humanitarian, Ian Khama has demonstrated the virtues of integrity, humility, and courage. His leadership radiates beyond borders. His influence extends beyond titles. He's a man that proves that Africa's greatness lies not in its wealth, but in its people, in their resolve to serve, to protect, and to uplift. He remains a bridge between generations, a custodian of his father's dream, a torchbearer for Africa. Therefore, Madam Chancellor, in recognition of this distinguished service to humanity and visionary leadership and his tireless defense to the environment, his philanthropy and cultural advocacy, and unwavering commitment to Pan-African ideals, Lukenya University, through its Senate and Council, and in the spirit of the Pan-African mission, to honor excellence and transformative leadership, is profoundly honored to confer upon His Excellency Lieutenant General Dr. Seretse Kamani Seretse the degree of Doctor of Science, honoris causa. And to our candidates. To our candidates, may this honor serve as a symbol of Africa's gratitude. To a soldier who has become a statesman, a leader who became a humanitarian, and a son of Africa whose life continues to illuminate the path of integrity, courage, and hope for all mankind. Thank you. Madam Chancellor, I now invite Mr. Daniel Lone, who is the Lukenya University Council Chairperson, to present the candidate. His Excellency, Dr. Seretse Kamani, for crowning and confirming.
Madam Chancellor, you are called upon to confer honoris causa to the candidate presented.
Madam Chancellor, Lukenya University presents to you His Excellency Lieutenant General Dr. Seretse Ian Khama, former President of the Republic of Botswana, for conferment of honoris causa of Lukenya University.
Universities award honorary degrees to individuals who serve as models, all those folks back here, students in this university and others.
So I am honored to confer upon you the degree of honoris causa, Doctor of Science, in recognition of your distinguished service to exemplary leadership, humanitarian service, and unwavering commitment to good governance, democracy, and environmental conservation in Africa and beyond.
That's the part where you cheer. That one. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one where you cheer. If you allow me, Madam Chancellor, allow me to just invite His Excellency Kalonzo Muskoka to come on stage. Our founder, Mama Martha Kasanga Mudwa, the council chair is here. Pro-Chancellor, please come on stage. Pro-Chancellor, please come on stage. Governor, please come on stage. Let's take this wonderful picture. What a momentous day. You want some music? Yeah? Thank you. Another picture. Well done. Well done. Mr. President, we want to give you the stage so that you can accept your work and proceed to address us. Is it okay we move this stage to the middle? Please, can you move the stage to the middle?
Your Excellency, the former President of Kenya, Your Excellency, the Governor, Madam Member of Parliament, the Chairperson of the Board of Trustees and the Board, Chairperson of the African Institute, Professor Piero Lumumba, the founder of the Lukenya University, Mrs. Mura, Madam Chancellor, Professor Mukena, the University Council Chairperson, the Piero Chancellor, the Vice Chancellor, academic staff, the student president and students, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, Mr. Vice President, thank you so much for bringing greetings from President Kenyatta, and I would request that you likewise pass on my greetings to him. We were at an event once as former presidents, and I was telling the audience that, like was said, that he and I had one or two things in common. One was that our fathers were founding presidents of our two countries, that he and I their sons became presidents, and coincidentally, 4 presidents. And then I said to the audience, but that's where the commonality ended. I said, because I was a better president than Kenyatta was. I would like to thank you very much for the extremely warm welcome, and I mean that in every sense of the word, that I received upon my arrival this morning, and to have been given the honor to do the groundbreaking, the tree planting, and the unveiling of the plaque. Before I came here, yesterday or the day before, I was told that I should wear very light clothing. I shouldn't wear a suit and tie because it can get very humid. So that's why I was wearing, why I'm wearing what I am today. And then when I come up on the stage, after them telling me that I should wear very light clothing, they then put this heavy gown and this headdress on my head. So in anticipation that Professor Lumumba was going to ambush me in that manner, I brought my own personal fan to keep me cool. I would also like to apologize when I was invited to come up and dance by the young lady. It is very rare for any man to turn down an invitation from a young lady to dance. But as I explained to Professor Lumumba that I do about 2.5 hours training every day. That's the legacy of my time in the military. And along with that, you have to put up with the occasional sports injury. So I have a slight knee injury, so I didn't want to embarrass myself coming up here and thinking, you may think that I don't know how to do the moves. I'm sure the occasion will come and I'll show you that I'm a better dancer than anyone sitting in the front seat here. It is with deep humility and heartfelt gratitude that I stand before you today, and I wish to express my sincere appreciation to Lukenya University Trust for the great honor that you have bestowed upon me. I'm particularly moved that this ceremony takes place on your Pan-African Day of the University, and under the theme Governance and Pan-Africanism. It is a fitting reminder of the values that have guided Africa's journey of unity, integrity, service, and self-determination. I'm very happy that Professor Piero Lumumba is here with us today. His name is synonymous with good governance and Pan-Africanism. I wish there were several Professor Lumumbas in every country on our continent, because he stands as one of Africa's most eloquent and fearless voices for Pan-Africanism, democracy, and good governance. Through his unwavering commitment to the unity, dignity, and self-determination of the African continent, he has inspired generations to believe in an Africa that is led by integrity, guided by justice, and powered by its own people. His bold advocacy and for accountable leadership and his tireless fight against corruption have earned him the respect and admiration of millions across borders. Professor Lumumba's vision reminds us that Africa's renaissance is not a distant dream, but a responsibility that calls upon every African to act with courage, wisdom, and purpose. You, Professor, are one of Africa's jewels, Thank you very much for the work that you do. Coming to the spirit of Pan-Africanism, it was born from struggle, from the determination of our forebears who used to be defined, who refused to be defined by colonialism, division or despair. It is a philosophy rooted in the belief that Africa must speak with one voice, act with one purpose, and stand on its own feet. From the vision of the Nkrumah, to the wisdom of Julius Nyerere, to the courage of Nelson Mandela and the foresight of my own father, Seretse Khama, we have inherited a rich legacy of unity and service. But this legacy is not a monument to admire. It is a mission to continue. Speaking of governance, the backbone of progress, governance is the foundation upon which Pan-Africanism must stand. Without good governance, unity becomes fragile and development unsustainable. True governance is not about authority. It is about accountability. It is not about control. It is about caring. It is the art of managing the affairs of a nation with transparency, fairness, and compassion. Africa does not lack ideas, nor do we lack resources. What we sometimes lack is integrity and courage in leadership. The Africa we dream of, peaceful, prosperous, and respected, will only emerge when our governance is guided by our values and not by our interests. Turning to recent examples, it is totally unacceptable. It is totally unacceptable when an African leader, in order to stay in power, will resort to killing his or her own people. In order to stay in power, will rig an election, as if they are God's gift to their country. When you have a country with millions of people, for any leader to think they are the only ones who can be presidents is pathetic. And therefore, and my apology to those who may come from Tanzania, but I'm mentioning this because they are your neighbor, that the recent election and what transpired, the killings around that election, I for one do not recognize the person who was inaugurated as the president. She is an illegitimate president. But the sad story does not stop there. The sad story does not stop there. Recently, we saw another inauguration of a 90-something-year-old president in Cameroon. 90-something years old, who can hardly walk, but still wants to be president. We have seen in countries like Ivory Coast, and they're not the only ones, where when an opposition leader shows that they're going to be able to put up a credible challenge against an incumbent, suddenly they are charged with some crime or the other. Their parties are banned for one reason or the other, just so that an incumbent can remain in power. That is not the Africa that we want. We have a protocol in the Southern African Development Community, SADC, which is our regional body. A protocol for the conduct of free and fair elections, which is violated by a number of countries in SADC. So when Tanzania violated the protocol, I thought, no, we will turn to the SADC chairperson to come and rescue the situation. But what happened? The chairperson of SADC who was the president of Madagascar, had run away from his own country. And he ran away with the chairmanship. That is how ridiculous the situation we find ourselves in today. And as we heard, with wars going on in Sudan, one of the worst conflicts in the world currently, in the DRC, we have military governments, and we have these geriatrics trying to be life presidents. And there are many more countries I haven't mentioned. It is setting a bad example for those young people who aspire to be our leaders in the future. So maybe taking your idea about how you lease vehicles to the government of Kenya, maybe people should be leased to become presidents. And when we see they are failing, we cancel the lease and put in someone and lease somebody else. We must therefore nurture a culture of ethics in public service, where leadership is measured not by how much one gains, but how much one can give. And to the youth of Africa, as I look across this audience today, I see the future. Young men, young women whose energy and creativity, which we have even experienced today on this stage, will shape the destiny of this continent. You are the generation that must take Pan-Africanism beyond rhetoric and make it a lived reality. In your hands lies the power to dismantle poverty, to dismantle corruption and inequality. In your minds lies the innovation that will build industries, create jobs, and restore dignity to African labor. In your hearts lies the compassion to heal divisions and bring hope where there has been despair. I urge you, do not wait for permission to lead. Do not wait for permission to lead. It is your right. The future of Africa will not be determined by those who doubt her. It will be built by those who believe in her potential and act with courage. With unity in diversity, our strength lies in that diversity. Africa is home to over 1.4 billion people speaking more than 2,000 languages. Yet beneath that diversity lies one heartbeat, which is the African spirit. We must move beyond borders, both physical and mental, and see ourselves as one people with a shared destiny. With Africa's united purpose, we will be unstoppable. Let us trade more with each other, learn more from each other, and support each other. Let us make the African Continental Free Trade Area not just a treaty on paper, but a reality in practice, a bridge that connects our markets, our cultures, and our dreams. And therefore, for sustainable development and stewardship, as Africans, we are blessed with abundant natural wealth, from minerals and forests to wildlife and fertile lands. But these gifts come with responsibility. Sustainable development means protecting our environment while empowering our people. It means creating economies that serve humanity. It means also not the other way around, recognizing that the true wealth of Africa is not in her resources, and like we've heard already, but it is in her people, their creativity, their resilience, and their hope. As we build cities, industries, and technologies, let us also build compassion. Let our progress not come at the expense of the vulnerable or the voiceless. So the vision for the future, I envision an Africa where every child has access to education, every family to clean water, and every young person to opportunity. An Africa where women are empowered, not marginalized, where peace is not the exception, but the norm. An Africa that speaks with confidence on the world stage, not as a recipient of aid, but as a partner in progress. That future is within our grasp, but it demands courage, the courage to think differently, to act boldly, and to serve selflessly. In closing, as I accept this honorary degree today, I do so not as a personal achievement, but as a reaffirmation of our shared belief that service to humanity is the highest calling for all. May we continue to draw strength from our heritage, wisdom from our elders, and inspiration from our youth. And may the spirit of governance and Pan-Africanism continue to light our path towards unity, justice, and sustainable development for generations to come. I thank you, the Lukenya University, for this honor. May God bless you all, and may God bless Africa, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chancellor, for that program. And we thank you all for your patience. We are now almost to the end of the program. I have now a particular pleasure to invite our beauty chair, Dr. Sylvia Kasanda, for the next program. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for your patience. We would like to give our guests, chief guests, as well as His Excellency Kalonzo Muskoka some gifts. So please, if I can have the gifts here on stage, please. Thank you for your patience. We've done good time in terms of program management. Let's have the gift bags. Both of parents be nearby. Prayer be nearby. Kalonzo Muskoka. His Excellency Kalonzo Muskoka to come up on stage. You help me give to our chief guest, Professor Pielo, to please come to the stage. Your Excellency, Dr. Seretse, please come to stage. Mama, come to stage. Chancellor, the protocol. come to stage so that we can award. Please come to stage. Let us award our chief guest. If I could have this podium moved. Please move this podium. We have the lions, the champions of Africa are here. It says His Excellency Lieutenant General Dr. Seretse Kama Seretse Chief Guest, Second Pan-African Day, Lukenya University and Pan-African Institute. You can go ahead and give the President. There were a few other goodies for you, Mr. President. Yes, very well. All right, so thank you so much for this. Thank you, Your Excellencies. You may be seated. Thank you so much, everyone. Yes. Vote of thanks, please. Vote of thanks.